Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Growth and Scaling Podcast. I'm your host, Todd Westra, and you are going to love the discussion that we had today with this amazing founder who is going to teach you some principles about franchising that I didn't even know existed. You know, I am not a franchise type founder, but I have so much respect for franchisors because they are the ones who are so perfect at building those repeatable systems and models that they're able to sell that off to people and let them run exactly the way they outlined. And it makes them all money. I think it's fascinating. I love franchisors and how they build these systems and processes. This one in particular, this interview today was amazing to me because I learned about a whole new side of franchising that I didn't even know existed. Wait till you hear what he does and how he does it. It was kind of shocking to me. I'm not going to lie though, this interview was very, very important for me because of the way that this particular leader in his organization was able to adopt a company that had been started and founded by his dad, and he adapted new cycles and new ways of doing things into the business when he took over and has tripled the size of the company since taking over only 7 years ago. I love this story. I love the interview, a lot of energy and a lot of just really cool mindset and thought process that went into his ability to take what had already been started and turn it into something that was amazing. Enjoy this episode. I hope you learned some things from it. I know I learned a ton, and just look forward to hearing those little gems as you listen to this interview. Thanks for being here. We'll see you at the end. Welcome to the Growth and Scaling Podcast. This is your host, Todd Westra, and I am so glad you're here today because we are going to interview an amazing founder or executive who is going to share with us their decisions that they made that exploded their growth. So if you need some inspiration, you want to hear how other businesses are doing it, this is the place to be, and we are glad you're here. Enjoy this episode. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Growth and Scaling Podcast. We have got an amazing guest, and I say amazing because I love when people franchise some of it. When they do their business so well that they can teach other people how to run the exact same business, I think it's super awesome. And today we got one of those guys on. We've got Adam. Adam, give us a little intro. Who are you and who do you help with your business?
Hey Todd, how's it going? So I am the CEO and president of Anago Cleaning Systems. We are a 3-tier commercial cleaning franchising system. And before everyone mentally tunes out and goes, cleaning, never mind. The easiest way to think about our franchise model is what makes us unique. When most people think of franchising, they think of, like a McDonald's where, the corporate offices and then the people who own the restaurant. That's the traditional 2-tier franchise. Ours, it's actually a 3-tier franchise. So when I say cleaning, the mental image that everybody has in their head is that, the person with the mop or the vacuum. And that's part of it. Those are what we call our unit franchises. And the easiest way to think about it is most of the cleaning of office buildings is done at night. So now there has to be someone who handles the daytime aspects of the business. And in our model, that's called a master franchise. So someone would own a major territory, like an Atlanta, Metro Atlanta, Metro Chicago.
Gotcha.
Someone owns the entire state of Utah. And the master franchise essentially handles the daytime aspect. So they're going to be hiring a sales team. They have the websites. They do the customer service, the billing and administration. But they do zero cleaning. The master franchise does zero cleaning. And then in their territory, they sell the unit franchises. These are the folks who own cleaning businesses, learn the chemical, the equipment, clean the buildings, hire the crew. And those unit franchises have zero sales staff. So it creates a really cool synergy where you have the master franchise are doing no cleaning and doing all the daytime aspects, and the unit franchise with no sales overhead, and they support each other, and it creates a cool little niche. So you have low barriers to entry, low investment costs for the unit franchise. A lot of people are just looking to get a side hustle. And then on the master franchise, it's very much, a white collar, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, sales and marketing type of business. So it helps
Holy crap.
Lots of different people from different places.
I absolutely I've never even heard it explained that way. And that is freaking awesome. I mean, so because let's face it, most people that buy a franchise, and I actually have a couple clients who are franchisees right now, and they're like, yeah, corporate gives us this, corporate gives us that. But like, they don't know how to think about like a grand marketing scheme. So you get a middle person who's like, I know how to market to my territory. I know what my people want. They kind of set the leads in motion. They get the sales done, and they just pass the contracts on to the sub franchisees almost.
Yeah, that's.
Am I understanding that right?
Yeah, you got it. Nailed it.
Dude, that's freaking awesome. I don't think I've ever heard it explained that way in a 3-tier franchise model before. Is this new?
No, we're over 30 years old, 33 years old this year. We're been around for a while. So it's cool because
but that style of franchise.
Yeah, well that style of franchise has probably been around for probably at least 50 years, but it's not one that's used frequently, and I'm not sure why, honestly. I think, like, if you said, if someone told you, Todd, you're a phenomenal cook, you should start a restaurant, right?
Yeah.
You go, maybe you are, maybe you make some, you make a mean steak or something like that. Great. But what do you know about?
I do actually, but yeah.
But what do you know about, maybe, industry, restaurant management and inventory spoilage and
hiring their staff,
and maybe you're going like, I don't know anything about that. So our model basically says, let's find all the good cooks and get them people who already know how to manage restaurants.
Dude, very cool. Okay, I maybe I'm just ignorant to the whole franchise world. I thought I knew some stuff, but you just learned to me something amazing today. I love this. So you started this cleaning business. Tell me about. We're not going to spend a lot of time on the launch of this thing, but tell us how you decided to. Did you know from the get-go that you were going to franchise this, or was it just something like, hey, you know what, I need to solve a problem. Let's get this going, and then it turned into a franchise, or did you intentionally go into it thinking, I want to start a franchise?
So, I know you said we won't spend too much time on the launch, but it literally rewinds all the way back to, the twinkle in my father's eye kind of point where my dad and my uncles actually formed a just traditional cleaning company. I'm originally from Michigan. They formed, it was just a traditional, direct service, hiring employees cleaning company. When I was a kid, we moved to South Florida, and my dad ended up, he actually worked for Jana King for like 3 years.
Okay.
And realized, like, wait a minute, I know everything about cleaning. I know how the model works. I know how, and this franchising piece really adds an extra layer to it that's really unique. Ended up leaving them and founded Anago back in 1989. Wow. I actually didn't get involved until 2009, but it was only 2 layers though until 1999. So there was 10 years where there was no master and unit franchise. It was just his office and unit franchises in the South Florida market. And it wasn't until 1999 that they go, well, if we can do this master franchise thing here, why not see if we can do this again? And then they opened up Tampa, and that became the first like official master franchise. And the rest is history. Now we're at 47 or 48 master franchises across the U.S. and Canada. Woo! And about 1,800 units across all that. So
dude, that is amazing. Very cool. So I don't know why I have not known about this model, but this is a beautiful thing, especially in this type of business. How have you so tell us about the growth journey. When your dad decided to move this into a master franchise, that type of relationship thing, and then as you picked up in 2009 and kind of, I'm assuming, kicked in the digital marketing, kicked in the other pieces that maybe dad wasn't so hot at. tell us about that growth journey and what's been your favorite part about that?
So my background is actually corporate finance, and so when he came to me about, hey, you want to be a janitor, you're like, what? Not first on.
It's all right, Dad.
When you're a little boy, you're going like, I want to be a fireman or a dinosaur, or janitor's not
a janitor.
But ultimately convinced me to join in 2009. And I mean, I did everything. My first job was, I literally was a telemarketer during the day, and I was a franchisee's assistant at night, and I had to clean a daycare. I mean, big garbage bags full of dirty diapers. And I mean, I got
awesome. Oh, that's beautiful.
I got baptized by fire, man. It was
that sucks.
That was how, his way. He had, I had to do every single job within,
earn everything you get. Yeah.
Every single job within the South Florida franchise. And then I ultimately moved to the corporate office. And then I had to do every job there. I was kind of like a field rep for a while. They put me in HR. I didn't, I had to learn. I was like, I don't even know what HR is. I had to learn everything about that. And then it wasn't until 2015 that I was promoted to president. It was, I mean, that honestly, just all of that, learning everything. And I was traveling the country.
Yeah.
That was a blast. I mean, it was, I was single in those days. I was, so you're traveling the country, you're single, you got a company card.
Right.
I mean, the world is your oyster, live it up.
Right.
But it was,
and you got into some really cool buildings that your franchisees were cleaning.
Oh yeah,
right?
I have pictures of me in like these fully kitted out in like surgery gear to go into a surgical center, and it was a blast.
That's
it was
nuts.
A blast, and you're there at like 3 a.m. because that's when the cleaning's happening.
Sure.
But
no doubt. So that is a pretty cool part of it. I am actually really happy that your dad did that to you, because I've got a bunch of kids, and I've told all of them, I said, there is no way any of you are going to work for me. If you want to start something, I'll help you, but I am not going to let any of you work for me. How did you make that work? And especially, more importantly, how did you earn the trust, I guess, to be able to take over that growth portion of the business and kind of like, okay, Dad, you did a good job, but we got to introduce some of these things to really kick this thing in the butt.
So, I mean, a lot of it came about, because I was, at the time, I was probably in my, when I started, I was in my mid-20s when I started Anago. So, I'm the founder's son, who's the punk kid in his 20s telling me what to do.
Right.
So I had to go.
Tommy boy.
Yeah. A lot of people spend 10 years in college, Tommy. They're called doctors.
They're called doctors.
No, but so I had to approach the whole thing very much from a servant leadership role, where it was, okay, you probably know more about your business than I do. How can we help? And using that and taking that as sort of my self-imposed credo in throughout my development.
Sure.
And then 2015, they were crazy enough to make me the president of the company. And then the proof has to be in the pudding. And since then,
sure.
We've tripled our revenue. We've doubled our number of master franchises.
Wow.
So eventually it's like, come on, Dad, like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I didn't screw this up. We're growing. You know what I mean? You still get your check every month, even though you don't have to work.
Right.
And so then he kind of realized that, the baton had been passed and went into, even though he probably came into the office almost every day until he passed, he was, he was semi-retired. He was at like an emerald, triple diamond, platinum cruise, he and my step
love
cruise.
it.
And so he finally was like, okay, I can let go.
I love it. That is such a cool thing. And now as you, before the baton was fully passed, and as you were kind of adapting to how to manhandle this company and just kind of keep it going the right direction, What have been some of the biggest hurdles you've had to hit? What are the big challenges that you've had to face in trying I mean, tripling revenue, doubling the amount of master franchises? There had to have been some hiccups there.
I mean, I've been at Anago for almost 14 years now, so there's been way more than one hiccup. I would say most recently, I mean, a lot of that growth, right? A lot of that growth that I was telling you about came. So how about this? I kind of say, I stumbled my way forward for the first maybe handful of years of being the president of the company.
Sure.
So we were at 30 and change million in system-wide revenue when I became the CEO. We ended 2020 at like mid 60s. So it took me like 6 years to figure that out. And it was just kind of stumbling my way forward. The last 34 million of that came in the last 18 months. And it was a total, my weakness has always been delegation. I got as far as I have because I'm good at doing. And when you do things and you're good at doing things, you want to do them your way. And so hey everybody, we're going to do it my way. And over the last year and a half, I have 2 young girls and a little boy on the way actually right now. So I'm going. Awesome. I gotta rethink how I'm spending my time, because I could spend countless hours here, and just be working and I'm I like it, I'm good at it, but it's obviously not the right situation for my family. So I go,
other people are good at it too.
And you start going, wait a minute, there's a lot of people out there, they're smarter than me, they know how to do things, they know how to handle things. And I probably added a full third, 33% more staff to the corporate office. I hired a chief strategy officer, a VP of marketing, an entire marketing department, an IT.
Love it.
And I literally, I didn't even know how to do it. I actually, I get a kick out of this. I was actually asking I'm on the board at my church, and I asked the pastor of my church, I was like, hey, they're like the 6th fastest growing church in the country. And I was like, how you're finding all these home run people? How everyone that you hired has been a rock star and they've been great. And I go, no, to be fair, your calling is a little bit higher than mine.
Oh, come on. The humblest among us is the greatest, right?
Cleanliness is next to godliness, right? I mean, so I go, so all that aside, like, what do you do? And he told me, I read a book, Who, by Jeff Smart, and absolutely changed the game for me. It was something, I read the book and I had no idea how to hire for some of these positions, because it's like, what the heck do I know about IT? How can I hire? What questions could I ask a potential IT director?
Totally.
Followed that book to the letter. I mean, I even nerded out, and how your phone has the, like where it could scan the text. I'd turn a page, like, oh, that's a good one. And I'd scan the text and read the next page. Oh, that's an even better one. And I'd scan the text. And so I have a cheat sheet that I use.
That is pretty nerdy.
Oh yeah. And I have a cheat sheet I use for every single interview I do now, for any senior level staff. And it's been my blueprint, man. And now I'm like completely unafraid to hire for any position. And I'm very huge on like who is going to get us there, not how are we going to get there. It's all about people.
Right. Wow. And you let them develop the strategy. You let them develop the way to get there. You just say, this is where we need to go. Who am I going to put in? And then they determine the path. Is that how you're delegating?
I like to be involved in strategy, but other than that, it's vision and strategy. I'm learning that, I have to do less and focus more on strategy, direction, culture, vision. Because if I'm not, who the heck else is gonna?
100%. Listen,
then I'm not growing my business. So that's been.
This is a great segue, because I think that for those listening who have their own business and they've grown it to a certain point to where you just can't physically be everywhere you want to be, right? You just can't, like, literally, you've got a family, you've got kids, you've got people that you care about that you never see. So why are you trying to hold on to so much when you can pass so much to people who are better at it than you are? Yeah. This is a fascinating thing that you just described, because I think that almost every business founder and even director, CEO, as they try to guide the course of their business, this is such a common problem, and yet we all feel like we're the only ones dealing with it. What advice do you give to other people who are just overstretching themselves? How do you get off that plane and get onto this new one where other people are guiding it?
I mean, for me, it took a lot of years of being in the weeds and dealing with those stresses and just taking the brunt of it to make the decision. But my thought would be, it's actually something I talk about all the time when I'm working with our master franchisees. It's something that was actually a Jeff Bezos lesson. He said in kind of short order, he said, there's 4 categories of how good you are at doing anything, right? You're either you're bad at it, you're good at it, you're excellent at it, or it's your unique ability. And your unique ability is something that you're excellent at and you're passionate about. And he said, so now think about those 4 things. If you're bad at it, you already know, delegate it, right? Like, I'm no accountant. I'm not gonna, I'm gonna hire people to do the accounting, right?
Right.
The problem is the stuff that you're good at and you're excellent at, you tend to hang on to for too long. And Jeff Bezos's lesson is, he goes, even if you're good at it or you're excellent at it, hire for it, outsource for it. Because the only value you really and truly bring to your company is your unique ability, what you're excellent at and passionate about. Everything else, hire or outsource.
Wow. I just told myself right now I'm going to go re-listen to this segment of this podcast again and again, because that is such awesome advice. And I appreciate you sharing that. Have you been, as you've been growing this thing and past, kind of taking that, and I'm sorry to hear your dad has passed. I'm sure he would love to see where you're at right now with this thing, but maybe he's watching, and let's hope that he is, right? But as you consider the future of the business and you think about where you're going with it and other roadblocks you're hitting, what are you doing right now? Are the people that you put in your life who are kind of, you look at and say, man, these guys are really inspiring me? We just like to give shout outs on the program because it kind of helps other founders know that they don't have to be the ones, that they're not all alone. There's other people they can look at for guidance and support. Who do you look at in that role in your business growth?
So one person I've always been super impressed with and have always looked up to, and I've only had limited interactions with her, is Catherine Monson over at Fast Signs. Now I think she's the chairwoman of Propelled Brands, which is like a conglomerate. And I've just, her cool. career path for me has been, it's been so impressive. She's so impressive. Anytime I see Fast Signs doing anything, I'm going like, oh man, I got to see what Catherine's up to.
That's interesting. She is amazing.
Yeah, she's just super impressive, and to see where her head is at, where you go, okay, I've kind of conquered the industry in terms of her franchise brand, to say, okay, well, but there's always another level up, and where is that level for me? Where is that level for? I think they're creating a whole services, conglomerate, business, like a Neighborly, but for commercial world. I mean, it's you go, wow, okay, there's always someone who's thinking bigger and broader and wider, and so that it's always been impressive.
I love it. And it is inspiring to see people who are 5 steps ahead of you, maybe 10, 15 steps ahead of you. But that is a great shout out. I appreciate that. Now, Adam, as we kind of near the end of this conversation, people are going to ask, how do they learn more about your franchise? How do they learn more about where you're at? Are you active on social at all? tell us a little bit about how people can learn more about what you're up
Yeah,
to.
we're everywhere. So everything is Anago Cleaning, Anago Cleaning. So it's anagocleaning.com, facebook.com/Anago Cleaning, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Everything is /Anago Cleaning, and we're everywhere. We got tons of videos. Please like us, follow us, all that good stuff as well. And like and follow
For
Todd's
sure.
podcast, of course.
Of course.
But check it out.
Thank
see
you.
all our stuff. We have a pretty active we're pretty active blogging, letting everyone know what we're doing. So check us out.
Cool. I'm going to put all those links in the show notes. So if you're listening, take a look, give it a follow, go see what they're up to. I think that this franchise model sounds amazing to me. Again, my eyes have been opened today to a whole new world of business model that I didn't really understand was out there. So thanks for shedding the light on that, and also for that amazing advice on delegation. Love it. Love it. Adam, you're incredible. Thank you so much for being on this episode today.
Thanks for having me, Todd.
Hey, so what did you think of that? I know if you're like me, I've been around other franchisees, franchisors, people who are on both sides of that equation. But what did you think about his discussion where he talked a lot about his ability to delegate, his ability to create replicatable processes and systems that allow not only his franchisees, but also his corporate side of the business grow and scale the way that he has? I loved it. I actually had a conversation with him after the interview where we talked a little bit more in depth about his ability to delegate, that book that he referenced in the interview, and some of the ways he was able to incorporate the delegation model into a very scalable part of his business. In fact, he told me that his overhead increased dramatically, which scared him, but a $1 million increase in revenue equaled, another $50 million in revenue, which I thought was fascinating. Is it worth spending $1 million to make another 50? In this case, I would say, heck yeah. So as you think about the decisions that you need to make to get the right people on board your ship, to get it to the next level, I don't think that there is any hesitation where I can say, do it. Whether you need to leverage something to get that money, whether you've got cash flow that you can take out of your own personal income to put towards that new overhead piece that you might need to run a part of your business that you currently are trying to run, you've got to be thinking, how can I replace myself with somebody better than me at running this part of my business? That's where you need to be thinking with your head, and I know you can make this happen. I love this journey that we're on, all of us, and growth and scaling our businesses. I wish you the best of success. Share this episode with anybody that needs to hear it, and we look forward to chatting with you on the next episode. Thanks for being here today.